Hello, guys. Today I want to share with you about a topic that I find interesting, and today's topic is finance. And I want to talk about my journey with finance, my interest in finance, things that I think about it, things that I think are good, things that I think are bad. Yeah, so join with me today, see what I have to say, and you can make your own comments about it. So, I generally have a problem with academic finance, same with academic economics. What I mean by those is the kind of economics you're taught in school or the way you're taught in school. So, um, academic finance, today I'll just talk about finance. I might bring in a little bit aspects of economics, but just finance. So, theories, academic theories of finance, things like capital market theory, they have a lot of assumptions. That's the problem. That's the thing I see. The problem with theories is these assumptions um, make for try to one of the most interesting assumptions is that investors or owners of capital are rational, and how they use their money is very rational. That's rarely the case, but I understand that they need to see a perfect model so that they can whatever predict, like it works in class. It works in class, but outside class it's very, the use is very little, so that it helps. If you're smart, you can see where the goal is or what you can try to do, and what you cannot do. Yes, you accept that you cannot do that. But the problem is, the truth in reality is, when we learn things, we try to get the closest um, picture of reality, and the closer it is, the better. Academic finance, same to academic economics, there's questions about how accurate or not accurate they are. But some concepts are as powerful as they are, just the way they are. Things like TVM, time value of money, I find that very, very powerful, just the way it is. So the concept that money is more useful today than in future, so that if you have to put away capital today, you have to get appreciation in future, capital appreciation in future, or money today will be more valuable. The same amount of money today will be more valuable in future. Um, if you account for, of course, inflation, because prices rise, the economy changes, whatever. Inflation is the reason. Um, but I want to talk about things that I've found personally. I've done academic finance. I've read books on finance. Some of them very academic, so I don't generally like those. But I found books that teach finance with a very non-academic aspect, no theories, no nothing, just practical use of money. And I found very powerful um, ways to think about finance now. So some of the most powerful things I've learned about finance is something like compounding. Number one, compounding is the most powerful. That's something that I've come to a conclusion, unless otherwise. But from what I've done, from what I've learned, from how I know it, not academic, sorry, compounding is the most powerful force in finance, and I'll explain. Second thing is, what else is powerful in finance? Um, oh, another thing I've found is financial security is more important. So that is very personal finance focused. Financial security is more important than financial returns. What do I mean by that? Financial security more important than financial returns or performance. That means generally, if you are planning your personal financial well-being, or you're just trying to plan your finances as an individual, or maybe as an investor, whoever you are, the first focus is security. So security is where you're investing your money. Where are you? Um, where are you putting your money? That's the question. Yeah, you can put money somewhere. You can lose all of it. So stock market is very risky, of course, but you know that by the time you're going to the stock market, you know it's risky. But it doesn't mean that everyone goes to the stock market loses their money. If you invest a certain way, you might make a lot of money actually. But the general thing is financial security is more important than financial performance or financial returns. That does not mean that an investor has to always optimize for the least returns, because the rule in finance is high risk, high return. And the converse is true, low risk, low return. But the first thing you do if you're planning your financial wellness or whatever, you first, there's a rule that those who have worked their wealth story, or they have gone through the journey in wealth, always say that protect before you multiply. So that's what I want to link my thinking from, and I understood it when that was said. So you protect before you multiply. That means you make sure you invest in things that you understand. First of all, if you don't understand it, don't invest in it. Doesn't matter the returns, doesn't matter how lucrative it looks, doesn't matter how somebody has performed in that thing. If you don't understand it, don't do it, as a general rule. So as I said, financial security is more important than financial returns. Before you optimize for financial returns, just make sure you have managed your financial security. Put money in a place you understand. Is it reputable? Is it somewhere that is verified? Have people who have made wealth verified it? If they don't, my friend, if you trust it that much, you can do it. That's your, do it at your own risk. That's the message. Compounding, that's the other thing. Compounding is powerful because you know, anyone can do it, you know, and it doesn't rely on your energy, it just relies on your consistency. So this is basically the intensity versus consistency game. Most people will just from the nature, human nature, you want to feel like you're liable for your success. I mean, you're fully accountable for your success, so that everything you've done results in your success. Yes, that is largely true, but we don't have like, effort doesn't really, that's something that I found. Effort doesn't really equal reward. Like, it's not commensurate, that's the thing. It equals reward, but not commensurate. So you can do little effort, get more returns, and you can do it like the thing is the strategy, not the effort. If you have a good strategy will beat effort every time. So what you need to focus on is a good strategy, not more effort. So you don't need to burn yourself out. You're a human. You have limited hours. You have limited time. You have limited energy. You cannot all expend it on one thing. And you know the thing is, you can do it, but by the time you're reaching there, you're very tired. So I think compounding in that sense brings a very comforting knowledge that if you align your strategy very well to how time works, and that is compounding, yeah, you can do very phenomenal for yourself when it comes to finance. So finance, basically, thing with compounding, the best way people explain it, and that's the best way to understand it, of course. But I can offer an alternative way to think about it. A snowball on an infinite slope. So infinite slope, you have the snowball at the top of the slope. It's small, or you actually, it's a snowball that you create yourself. So you roll snow, right, slowly, and it makes a snowball. It's a very small thing, yeah. And then you start pushing it as it collects snow, yeah. And it's an infinite slope with the same gradient or the same steepness. So this snowball rolls. The initial input is yours. You roll it, and up to a certain time you'll be rolling it, but slowly. Then at a point you'll just leave it, because it'll have enough momentum. Even yourself, you don't have to do anything, and you won't even be able to stop it. That's the thing. The momentum will be doing the job for you. So all you have to do is you have to put enough effort, just enough, until you reach the point where the momentum that is gathered is more than the effort you're putting, and then the job is done. Just let it do its job. So in the financial realm, what you do is put your money somewhere that is reliable and safe, good enough yield. So make sure your yield is going to give you a good return net of inflation. So you take the inflation, the return you're getting, take away inflation, you still have a good return. Yes, that's a good return. So I usually try to, like, I personally, the thing I'm trying to do is any return below 10% for me is not viable, because inflation rates are typically 3-4%. That is typical inflation. If it goes higher, there's nothing you can do about that. But typical inflation, I'm using a base or a standard rate of 4% inflation in a normal economy, 4% or 3%. Do your math, 10% and above is good enough. So if you have put your money in a good yield account, don't remove it regularly, because if you remove it regularly, what you're doing is you're not allowing compound to do its thing. Let it stay there, let it do its job, and within enough time, it will be a snowball that will have enough momentum than the effort you're putting. And once that is done, of course, when you talk about time, a certain number of years is enough to roll that snowball. And past those years, you just let the thing do its thing, and it's just roll. And yeah, that is compounding for you. The other way I think about it is, you plant a tree with one seed, that tree grows. So this is more investing. This analogy is more for investing. You can think about investing in this way. You plant a tree, it grows, it starts producing fruit. And from this one seed, you see your initial input is very small, but all you need to do is tend to this tree. So you plant the seed, it grows as a tree, it reaches a certain place, it starts blossoming or producing fruit. Produces fruit. You might take a little bit of, like, take the fruits but replant the seeds. So you see, the system itself is doing its thing, but it takes a long time for this tree to grow, right? So you take the seeds, you replant them, you eat the fruit, but you replant the seeds, and you do this. You do this enough times, even 2 times or 3 times. Your effort will be like very minimum, but the results will be very, very astronomical or very, very huge. But the only catch, if you understand this model, is time. You have to be patient. You have to trust in the system. You have to have a good strategy. The strategy is very simple. Plant the tree, tend to it, water it, prune it. So pruning is, for investing, pruning would look like rearranging your portfolio. Yeah. You found this company offers better returns than some other company that was in your portfolio. You change your portfolio. That is pruning. And once you do that, the tree would be so huge, it will be so self-sufficient, and it will be doing its own thing. That is the end. Your effort, if you're doing effort, it will be very minimum. Okay, maybe just taking out some money or taking out some proceeds, reallocating it to something else. Yes, this is the best way to think about it. And yeah, it's very interesting. So I've talked about compounding. I've talked about protecting before multiplying. That is, financial security is more important than financial returns. What else do I find very interesting in the concepts of finance? For today, let me just talk about this too. Protecting before multiplying and compounding. So you can think about the analogy of the snowball. You can think about the analogy of the tree. It's very powerful. It looks simple. In fact, another thing about finance, and Warren Buffett talks about this. I'll say how he says it, but generally what he's trying to say is, the simpler it is, the better. With finance, with your financial planning, just make it simple. So how Warren Buffett puts it is, beware of geeks bearing formulas. Basically, what he's saying is, if you're an investor, you have capital, but you don't know how to deploy it. If geeks bearing formulas, that is generally the financial industry, quants, whatever. If they are bearing formulas, they're basically sophisticated. That is the general thing, or they are complex. They're using complex models to uh, to uh, to optimize for the most returns. But the catch is that is high risk, you know, and there's a lot of assumptions that they make with those models that they do. So with finance, the simpler it is, the better. In fact, if you can automate your financial systems, if you can just have an automated system, trust in that system, and allow time, be patient with it, allow time to do its thing, yes, that's the best for you. Whether you're in, I know for corporate, like for finance in the corporate sector, it's a little bit complex, but in your personal finance, just try to make it simple. Just use the power of compounding, use the power of protecting before multiplying. Ask for advice from people who have done it. Yeah, it's simple. But those two concepts in themselves are very powerful. In fact, if you can just use those two concepts well, understand them well, you can do good. So thank you for today, for your time. That's all I had for you, and see you next time.